views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Reclaim your power and learn to live your most amazing life with Mike Murphy Unfiltered Radio. Unfettered, unflinching, unafraid. Tune in every Thursday from noon to 2 Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Mike explores authentic and relevant truth and powerful conversations with some of the world's most renowned game changers. This hit show taps the dynamic principles of the creation frequency to unleash unlimited infinite potential and guide you to manifesting the highest possibilities of your heart. Level up your life and rewire your programming. Think new thoughts and create true freedom. Let's expand energy, build true health and explosive frequency consciousness together. Powerful people, powerful conversations, powerful listeners. Infinite possibilities, fostering peace and joy with an unfiltered heart. Now, here's Mike Murphy, Unfiltered.
Welcome back, everyone, and you're tuned in to the Mike Murphy Unfiltered Show, and of course, I'm Mike Murphy. And I'm so excited. You know, that was a great first hour of the first show ever with Marcia Weeder. And I'm so excited this second hour, we have just another amazing guest, a wonderful man by the name of Greg Reid. And we're going to bring him on in just a few moments. And I know he's going to touch your heart and soul in ways that are going to surprise you, I believe. And so anyways, in saying goodbye to Marcia, she came up with a good idea to start this next hour. And so, you know, she really moved us to dream. And so she suggested that if anybody in listening to that first hour came up with a dream that they want to realize in their life, and then she went on to explain, you know, we got to identify the dream, but then we got to take an action step, and the sooner the better. So I welcome, invite you, inspire you to go to Mike Murphy author page on Facebook and just write. If a dream came to you, just write it down and give me just one little action step that you can take today to start the process of bringing that dream into your physical reality. I know you can do it. You got to take action though. So go to Mike Murphy author on Facebook. Let us know what you got out of that. I just want to recap briefly Marcia's hour with us. So we talked about how to be a good coach. She talked about accountability. You know, we have to have someone holding us accountable. So crucial. And I think Greg can touch on this as well. And integrity. See, because Marcia's in line with integrity and she holds herself accountable, she has very high self-esteem. And it's that high self-esteem, that confidence that allows her to go out into the marketplace, this little 5-foot woman, you know, and just knock people dead on stage or write a powerful book and show people how to make their dreams come true. And that's really our whole purpose of this show, is to empower you guys to find new tools to take your power back, move from your head to your heart, live with purpose and passion, and make the world a better place, not only for you and your family, but for all of us, so we can shift the direction that we're headed right now. And that's super important to us. And then she talked about selling. You know, there was the old way of selling that I grew up with, which was, you know, product, close. And then she talked about building rapport, but now she has a new technique, which is just inspire people with your dream and your vision, and then invite them to be a part of it. You know, that's a simple way to look at selling. And once again, I don't care if you're home raising the kids, we all got to be selling. You know, you got to sell those kids on what to do their homework. You got to sell your husband on how to treat you, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then finally, we close with, you know, wounds and how wounds played an important part in her life, in her early childhood wounds, addressing them and healing those, and then being able to move into a much deeper spiritual way of life. So I'm grateful to Marcia, and I'm super, super grateful for this next guest. And before we bring him on, I just want to just say one thing that came to me during the break here, is that, you know, there's the old saying, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. Okay, so here's Marcia Weeder, a wildly successful person. You know, I appear to be a successful person. I have this radio show. I wrote a book. Greg's coming on. He's written many books. Highly successful person. But, you know, we have challenges too. You know, and life throws us curveballs. And I think it's important that it's going to happen to all of us. You know, and life's not easy at times, and we do have certain challenges. But to always look for that silver lining and to persevere through, to always keep our self-esteem, keep our faith, keep trudging along this road of happy destiny, and come out the other side bigger, better, and able to serve more people. And so I just think we got to always realize that, just because we're here on this doesn't mean we're extra special. We have the same challenges. Maybe we just have more reference points or technologies or techniques to grow and to thrive, and even when life does become difficult. So that's my wish for each and every one of you. So as I started to, I first became aware of Greg Reid about 1 year ago today. I was playing golf with Wayne Nelson here in Palm Springs, and he's the lead singer of Little River Band. And his beautiful wife, Rhonda, had written a book. And they said, hey, we're going over to San Diego to this thing called Secret Knock, and you should come. I go, well, I'm not really into secret societies, And so they go, no, it's about authors. And there's this amazing guy, Greg Reid, and you got to meet him and you inspire him. They said, we're going to call and see if he can invite you in. And, Forbes calls Secret Knock the greatest event you can't attend unless you're invited. And so Greg was gracious enough to let me go for free, I might add. And it's cost a few dollars. And so I was exposed to Greg Reid and this beautiful thing, Secret Knock, where he brings in all these wonderful speakers and this great technology and this cutting edge way to improve our life. And he's giving away things. He gives away tons of stuff at this event. And I was moved by his spirit. In fact, I was moved so much that before I left, I wrote a check to he's created a new organization, a Mastermind Association, which we're going to get into today. And so as a result of that, a few months after this, he invited me to the house for a meeting around the Mastermind Association. And I got to see what a generous man this person was, and I got to see his quality of work and what he's done in his life. And I was greatly touched. So here's one of his books, Thoughts Are Things. Of course, I love this one. And then 3 Feet from Gold, a huge bestseller. And then, of course, he's my new millionaire mentor, friend. But what he did that night, I told him, I love Og Mandino. We were talking about, all the great authors and stuff. And I go, I love Og Mandino. He goes, do you really? I go, yeah, I really love Og Mandino's work. He took me upstairs to this huge library, and he had this special collection of Og Mandino books. And he said, here, and he pulled this one out, The Greatest Salesman in the World, my favorite one. It's like an antique. It's like a special edition, right? He said, take this. This is my gift to you. And so I love givers. There's a lot of givers, a lot of takers, but I love the givers. And this guy's a wonderful thing. And Greg, I'm so grateful that you're on our very first show, our second hour, our second guest. Welcome to the Mike Murphy Unfiltered Show.
Well, absolutely. And by the way, I haven't seen Marsha Weeder in years. What a champion you started off with.
It's interesting. So she's actually at my farm in Medellin, Colombia. They're doing a special retreat there, and she's a guest there participating in it. So she said to say hello to you, by the way. Okay. So Greg, I'm going to ask you a really weird favor, and you feel free to say no, and I'm going to catch you a little off guard here. But when I was at your house and we're having dinner there, your son called, and I can't remember if it's Cole or Colt, but your son called, and the way you said goodnight to him, the way you recited this thing and had him recite back to you, I was greatly touched, moved, inspired. In fact, so much so that I called my nephew, who's a single parent raising his son, and shared that with him. And now he does it with his son. So would you mind sharing with the audience what you do every night when you talk to your son or you say goodnight to him?
Yeah, his name is Colt, like a horse, I guess, so to speak. And it was really interesting. Before he goes to bed, he does something called a mantra. And if I forget it, he will wave me down, come out of his room, go, you forgot the mantra. And so we did an audio track, and it was Amazon's #1 bestseller spoken word last month. His first track ever. It was pretty cool. And before he goes to bed, he says, my name's Colt. He says, I'm happy, I'm powerful, I'm brave, I'm wise, I'm worthy, I help people. My name is Colt. And by planting those words before he goes to bed, hopefully they'll set in. But I realized that the action started adding and matching up to the words that he keeps speaking, and amazing things start happening. One quick little story about law of attraction.
Please.
Everywhere we go, no matter where it is, he reaches in his pocket when we get home and he puts money on the table. He finds money everywhere. And I go, why is it if we go to the grocery store, amusement park, you always find money? He says, I look for it, Dad. Sometimes it's that easy.
Yeah, well, it is too. And so let's talk about the law of attraction. That's my passion through the creation frequency, my book, my course, is really get people to understand that before anything comes into the physical reality, it starts as a desire and a thought. We create a plan and we link powerful emotion to it. And that's how everything must come into the physical reality from the unseen world. What's your concept around the law of attraction?
Well, first of all, I don't think we attract what we want in this world. I think we only attract more of what we already are. So the harsh realities for myself is that I've never been in a fist fight in my life, but I know people get them every week. I have no idea we're going to look for a fist fight, right? And you've hold up a book that Bob Proctor and I did. It's called Think and Grow Rich, Thoughts Are Things. And for years we went and interviewed everyone from Holocaust survivors to, the founders of JetBlue and the founders of Pictionary. And we wanted to find out how thoughts become things. And our discovery was that thoughts are not things. It's only thoughts backed by the actions become the things. So we talked to these neuroscientists from Harvard, and they said we have 64,000 thoughts a day. And majority of them are called ants, automatic negative thoughts. They're part of the reptilian section of your brain to keep you safe. So when you went outside the cave, a dinosaur didn't come and eat you. And so if thoughts were things, the majority were negative, then everything would be chaos in our life. So thoughts are not things, but it's the thoughts backed by massive actions become our reality.
And where do these thoughts come from, in your opinion?
Well, sometimes it's divine intervention. Sometimes we do something called tapping the source. I believe in my successful friends that everything around us is energy. So right now in the airwaves, there's country music, rap music, and classical. And if you took a radio receiver and dialed it into an exact frequency, like 100.7, 100.1 doesn't work. It's so close, but it doesn't work. So if you dial an exact frequency, you pull it down and enjoy it. Well, I believe that I've met people not as smart as me have more success. Why? They tapped into the source or have romance or love or health or wellness. So I wanted to discover how to do it. And I realized through this thing called access consciousness, the way that you tap into the source is the questions in which we ask. So what happens is the world is literal, the energy. It's like Google. If we sit there and say, show me shoes, it shows you men's, women's, all. It's a cluster F. But if we say size 10, red laced up in San Diego within a mile of my house, then it's a different story. So same thing. Unfortunately, most people say, God, why does this always happen to me? And then the universe goes, this is why, you dumbass, and gives you exactly more of that, because that's the questions in which we ask. If we say, when is this going to go to hell in a handbag? Tuesday at 4:00. But if we can start asking questions like, what's the opportunity and a challenge that I'm not seeing right now? How do I capitalize and leverage or someone that's within my sphere of influence that we can better each other and mankind? All of a sudden, those answers start magically appearing. So for myself, I'm always looking at how can I get better than this, and how can we profit where everyone succeeds?
So what I hear you saying is thoughts aren't things, but thoughts are energy. And then if we're connected to the source, our creator, and we're aligned and we're in integrity, then we're like a download. We're like a receiver, and we can download this information.
Yes, tapping the source. It's so interesting. When Michael Jackson was interviewed, he says, when you did Thriller, the greatest album of all time, he says he woke up at like 3 a.m. and wrote every word. He would not stop until it was done. And they talked to him and says, well, why did you do that without quitting? And he says, I didn't want Prince to get there first. Because he tapped into the source. So I realized myself that this is divine intervention. How many times you woke up at 3:00 in the morning with that song in your mind, or you've been in the shower with $1 million idea? By the time you brush your teeth, it's down the drain. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, people tap the source for a split second and then they let it go. So for myself, I'm an action taker just like you. So when it hits me, all I do differently is I write it down and then I go apply it.
It's like what Michelangelo said to the marble, hey, everything that's not Michael, fall away. And there was Michael, right? So we can download thoughts from our creator. So that means every single one of us listening here, we're one thought away from transforming the destiny and creating a much better life. We just got to be still and connected and download that energy thought.
We're one action away. We can go, whatever, tomato, but we're one action away. Look,
but it starts with that idea, but we must take action.
Right. It's the action in the law of attraction that makes our
perfect.
True. You got to think it, feel it, but you got to get off your ass and you got to do it.
Amen. Yeah, I think it was Azeroth that says the law of get off your ass and go to work. Something like Goya or one he calls it.
He and I had lunch the other day, and we were talking about how thoughts and energy and his brain work and all this different stuff. And we all say the same thing. Some people just pray to their deity, but again, they're tapping into the source. They're doing thing. Everyone's got a different way of doing it. But from the scientific version, it's RAS, reticular activator system. It's Rumi's quote, whatever you seek is seeking you. It's already there. When a student's ready, a teacher appears. They're there. Everything we want, health, wellness, relationships, is already within our grasp. All we have to do is reach out.
So let me put it to you like this, see what you say. So basically, there's a lot of talk of the cloud. Everything's in the cloud now. So that dream realized is already exists in the cloud. And so is the plan to get it. We just got to bring it down and then act on that plan. Perfect. So let me ask you this. So we can download a plan. We can download the fulfillment of our dream. I also feel like our heart is a broadcast system. So we're a receiver in one respect, but we also broadcast out. So if we're vibrating at a very high frequency energy and we're broadcasting, that's what we're going to attract. Is that what you're saying?
Well, absolutely. And that's a heart math concept and all
right.
that good stuff. Look, we can go through this thing all day long, but we're all on the same page. And obviously people listening to you are already, it's like preaching in the choir. So I think we can move on from here because we all agree, energy. We
right.
are, the embodiment of the people that we surround ourselves with. Look, if you come into my house, you've been here. We're drama free. We don't let any assholes, we don't let any drama into our world. And so people think we are that asshole because we won't attract and bring it in, and we won't get down in the mud and complain and whine and moan. What we do is look for positive solutions. We can have a challenge, but what we do is say, hey, here's a challenge. Here's going to be all the minutia we got to go through to have that discovery. And we're not afraid to walk through the mud. And the whole key is that we understand that's just part of the process to get to the end destination. First, there's a dream, then there's a challenge, and then there's victory. Unfortunately, most people quit in the challenging times.
Exactly. Well, Greg, I got to tell you, I just really love everything that you've done with your career and the books you've written and the lives that you've touched. And so thank you for that. I appreciate that. I have to ask you one thing. What drives you today? I mean, what drove you to get going? And then what drives you today? What really fires you up today?
It's interesting. When I was a kid, I had a bucket list. One of those crazy things you got to do before you die. I had 80 of them. And fortunately and unfortunately, I crossed the last one off a year ago. And it's almost a surreal moment because you work and work towards these goals and then you get them and you realize it truly is the journey and not always the destination. So now what drives me, I think, is my son, which we talked about earlier, Colt. Since my bucket list is done, people say, well, start a new one. I go, no, I've done everything I want to do. I go, so I asked Colt, what do you want to do? And he started writing his list. So now my goal is to make his list come true. I think that will give me more entertainment and happiness moving forward.
I totally agree. And that's awesome. I appreciate that. So you, what I loved about Wayne Dyer, he always talked about, becoming a camel. And I know that you became a camel and you just celebrated 31 years as a camel. And, I think most people listening to us, we all struggle with something, right? And so you found a way to overcome some sort of limitation in life. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about your story, your experience, strength, and hope?
Yeah, I don't have a sad song story about this, but I'm 31 years sober. I don't drink, smoke, use drugs. I quit when I was 24 years old. And at the time, I never hit one of those bottoms. I drove a brand new BMW and lived in La Jolla on the beach. I had a great life, but I was just setting myself for a journey where I didn't want to go. So I checked myself into one of those rehab centers when it was cool back in the 70s or in the 80s. And I just quit and I just never touched since. And it's interesting because on my 30th birthday, I got a text from the CEO of Alcoholics Anonymous, who has Bill W.'s job, to congratulate me. And I went, well, that's a good circle of life right there. That's where things come together. And again, fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not a big Bible thumper guy when it comes to it. I just believe in working my program. And it's people say, well, how do you stay clean and sober that long? And here's my simple answer. I call it hand in the sand. Imagine grabbing a handful of sand. When people give you their input and tell you what to do, I say thank you. And if it works for me, I keep it. If not, I let it slip through my fingers. But by saying thank you, honors that person instead of a yeah, but. So someone says, put a bumper sticker on your car. I say, all right, thank you. I go, I drive a nice car. Ain't going to happen. And they say, well, get a sponsor. I go, that makes sense. And as I closed my hand, that became the program that works for me. And that's how I've out-survived my sponsors and even the rehab center I went through and everything else by simply doing the program that worked best for me.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. Mine was more a drug-driven thing, and so I gave up. But I gave up everything in one day for 16 years, and there's no way I could have achieved the financial success and the relationship successes that I achieved without that. So I always say, social drinking's okay, but not drinking at all makes life easier. You're fresher, you're always easier. So there's a lot to be said for that. And the other thing, and I'd like your take on this, but what I found interesting is the power of those 12 steps and the power of those traditions and to get out of self and to serve. And for me, the biggest struggle was that third step because I felt like I'd feel like that hole in the donut if I surrendered. How did you deal with all that?
Okay. So again, this is going to go against everything you think. First of all, I think, okay, AA, this is unfiltered, right? So
Yeah.
AA as a whole is wonderful, but it's almost like the DMV. It gives you the 10-2 how to drive, but you're never going to drive that way. You're going to drive me while, sipping a Pepsi while changing the radio station. So, it's hard for me to get behind a program that's so old fashioned that it has a 98% failure rate. It's not logical. So I'm not going to probably have the same boom shakalaka thing as you.
Yeah.
Even getting a great sponsor or someone that can guide you, because it's like anything else. What would you rather have? A treasure map or a treasure guide?
Yeah.
The map is those steps, which is cool, but a guide who can actually walk you through it when you're experiencing it, that's where the miracle lies. At least in my
I agree. I had a similar experience, but I did work the steps and I evolved deeply as a human being. But then after a while, I said, well, wait a minute. I didn't quit drinking to come down here and tell my story every night and smoke cigarettes. I came here to get a better life. So, then we got to go out and start living. We got to fix the issue, and then we got to get out there and get stuff done, right?
And when we were going, see, you and I are positive, and every time I kept going to those rooms, I kept hearing these stories that I could not relate to because I never stole everything from my family and hocked up stuff and went to I didn't have those stories, I just quit. And so it's really interesting. After a while, I started my own men's groups, and I still do them today. So a brotherhood, we come together as fellowship, and it's awesome. But again, I attracted and put together the mastermind of the people I want to put myself with and who are positive, solution searching. Yeah, we're going through challenges. Yes, we're going through things. So we help each other go through them rather than bitch and complain about them. We're looking for a solution.
So that's a perfect segue. So you mentioned Mastermind and you mentioned your own men's group. So I know that you just started this new organization. It's very exciting, the Mastermind Association. So share with the audience what that is and how they can become a part of it if they like.
Yeah, first of all, you just go to mastermindgroup.com and it'll take you right over there. And it's really interesting. I realized that in this industry, so many people talk about a mastermind, but really, they're not going to mastermind meetings. They're going to little mini seminars in people's living room in a semicircle. And I'm like, oh, what if we went back to basics? And so our whole catchphrase now is, don't look for your tribe to fit into, start your own. And I think that is the thing, because each person is working on something different. But more importantly, someone else is dying to join an association group with the same thing you're going through. So if you're a car dealer, I guarantee you, if you could find other car dealers around the country that are going through their struggles, and you had a mastermind together and you cooperated and said, hey, have a collaboration. How could we run some ads and help each other out? And if I have a lead that works for you and you work for me, we could all grow together. That's what a true mastermind is supposed to be. So we've created something called the Mastermind Association, where people can go through a process to learn how to start, host, maintain, organize, and run their own mastermind group. So you just go to mastermindgroup.com. I'll take you over there. And you are a founding member of this group. And I know it's hard to see because you see things in the peripheral, but I'd say within the next 6 months, this will be the thing everyone's talking about, because it took us almost a year to really do the infrastructure to put it together. And the people that are doing all the back end stuff are the people that did the back end for the biggest names in the world, from Kraft Foods to Cisco to the biggest soft drink companies in the world. So we're creating something very, very special.
So share with me, Greg, based on your experience. One, let's say I'm the guy, I want to start my own mastermind group, and I think I have something to offer, a theme or something that I want to bring these people together. So I could go there, learn how to do it. And so what would be my benefit? And secondly, let's say I just want to be a part of a group. I don't want to lead it. I just want to join the group and have that fellowship, that accountability. Based on your experience, what benefits do I get by doing that?
Well, it's interesting. So you mentioned before about going to a meeting like an AA type of thing. Well, as cool as you had that structured blueprint, kind of like the Roberts rules, where everyone followed it, whether you went to a meeting in Nebraska or one in San Diego, it's ran the exact same way. That's what you helped us create was the Roberts Rules, a systematic format that someone who's just joining, associating, starting, or everyone's following the same principle. So yeah, some people will rise to the top and lead their own group. Some people will be part of it. But once everyone's trained the exact system, then everything works in unison.
Folks, I really encourage you to go to mastermindgroup.com. Check it out. I've been in small groups my whole life, or always had a coach or a mentor, and mentor other people, right? And it's just a much more fulfilling way to live and to really achieve what we truly want to create is the dreams, bring our dreams into our reality.
I remember when we were doing our one here, and you kind of pulled us aside and said, man, you guys just kind of called me on my shit. And it was awesome because a good friend and mentor will tell us what we need to hear and not always what we want to hear. And the secret of starting a real good group is to surround yourself with people you have respect for and not people you just have influence. Because as soon as it was done and it was my turn and the next person, boy, you got us good too. And that's what we need. It's not just everyone to give us a pep talk and tell us how great we're doing. We can see the mirror. What we need is sometimes someone to look over our shoulder and have our back, maybe put a spotlight on something that we can't see. We all need mirrors to remind us who we are.
Exactly. Well said. Thank you. So folks, go check it out. You'll love it. So let's talk about this. I know you have a new book coming out. I just pre-ordered it yesterday. I think it comes out April 19th. And it's called Wealth Made Easy. Millionaires and Billionaires Help You Crack the Code to Getting Rich. Tell us about it.
All right, Mike. This is it. It's so funny. I've now done 78 books, 45 languages, 30 some odd bestsellers around the world. But this is it. This is going to be, my gut tells me this will be the book that I'm remembered for. Everything else will be forgotten. And it was really interesting because what happened is I was going through a divorce. And through the time we were separating everything, I was giving her the money and we're working on the finances. I go, man, I should have more dough than this. I've worked pretty good. And I noticed all the titles were Thoughts Are Things, 3 Feet from Gold, Stickability, Don't Quit. None of it was about making dough. So I called up my billionaire friends and go, will you teach me how you did it? And they go, absolutely. And I said, why will you tell me your secrets? And they said, no one ever asks. He goes, my grandkids want a new car. My family and my kids are fighting over my inheritance and I'm still alive. He goes, but no one ever asked how I did it. And so I went on a journey for 3 years and I sat down with multimillionaire billionaires and said, what did you do? And they taught me what I call their wealth hacks. And on every single page, I deduced like a 3-day interview down to just one paragraph and made it so simple that everyone can understand wealth in layman's term. Can I share one real quick?
Please.
The first guy said, how did you make $1 billion in dirt? Just dirt. And he said, time plus land is wealth. I go, what do you mean? He says, all I do is I look for a town anywhere in the world that's growing exponentially at 25% a year. He goes, go on Google Maps. It's free. You can look for it anywhere. He goes, then I look for Broadway, Main Street, and I draw a line out 8 miles and I buy the dirt. He goes, I rent that dirt to farmers who pay the lease. It's free to me and I get vegetables for years. As the town continues to grow at 25%, ends up on my plot. And since I'm on Main Street, Broadway, that's what I sell to the big box stores for 800 times what I paid, $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I realized that all these wealth hacks, from Lamborghini, sitting down with him, to the founder of Remax, to all these amazing people, I had a simple hack that can literally transform your life in a whole new direction.
Fascinating. I remember reading a book about Sam Walton, and he would fly over those little towns and he would do the same thing. And that's where he'd go build his Walmart. So a lot of power in that. I can't wait to read the book. So I'm looking forward to that. Does money really make us happy, or what's your concept around that?
Well, if the love of money is the root of all evil, I don't know what poverty stands for then, because all I know is that poverty is what inspires a lot of evil. That's where the drugs and the addictions and the things that we don't want to talk about, those are the things that transpire and open eyes. So for me, I believe that wealth is just one term for freedom, and everyone's got a different version of it. One of the funniest things about interviewing all these people, the folks worth $40 million and below are the happiest people. They're like the new Beverly Hillbillies. They can afford the big mansion, fly first class, go on their family trips. They're pretty stoked. And these are people that had a quick buyout, an exit stretch. Something happened where they got some dough. The people worth $1 billion, I got to tell you, I've never met a grumpy billionaire yet. They're pretty stoked living this life. But the people worth like 300 million to 700 million, I don't think I'd wish that upon any human alive. They're the most miserable people I've met because they're so far away from that B number, and they're keeping up with the Joneses, and they have 3 cell phones, and they're fat, and they're cheating on their wives. And, you know, I'm not saying all of them, but I wouldn't wish it. It was not a happy place. So 40 million and below, amazing. Billion, amazing. So somewhere in the middle, it's just really interesting because they're working so hard. Think about it, $100 million. That's a lot of money, but you're only 1/10 of a billionaire. You're so far away.
So do you think for those people, and that it's a scorecard, you know, they don't, I mean, how much can you eat? How much can you drink, right? How many homes can you have? So is really just, they're driven by the ego to get to that billion so they can say they did it and hang with their buddies?
Everyone's got their own reason. I'm not going to put a blanket thing on that one, but I will say this, the billionaire guys, here's one of my favorite things, because this is a unison thing they all had in common. I go, what do you think about when you wake up? And they all said money. I go, oh, how to make more? And they go, nope. How am I going to get rid of it? They go,
really?
I spent $1 million a day. I cannot get rid of my money. And he goes, I go, well, give it to your family. He goes, I wouldn't curse them like that. They all get $10 million. That's a lot of dough for someone for didn't do the work. He goes, $10 million is a lot, but it's not enough for them to hang themselves. And I go, well, give it to, you know, one of these nonprofits. He goes, no way. They blow all the money and they go fly first. I don't know what they're doing with that cash. I worked too hard for it. And he goes, so I've got to find somewhere. Like, for example, if I go build a well in Africa, well, I don't want a year later that run out and I ruined the town because they got used to water and I gave it to them and took it away. He goes, so I got to find something that's so sustainable. He goes, but I can't find it. And so they're in this search of how they're going to spend the rest of their life getting it back. That's why you hear about Buffett and Gates and all these people coming together to give away so much of their funds, because that becomes a major focal point.
Got it. Well, I can't wait to read this book, and I'm sure you learned a lot and had a blast doing it. Folks, we're going to just take a quick 2-minute break, and when we return with Greg, I'm going to ask him, I mean, this guy's a big film producer, I understand, and he just came out with a new movie that's going to really inspire and touch a lot of hearts. So we're going to get into that when Greg returns in just a couple minutes. Thanks, folks. Welcome back, folks, to the Mike Murphy Unfiltered Show. It's our first episode of all time, my first time doing this. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. We've had a couple of great guests, and we're still talking with a super great guy, Mr. Greg Reid. And when I went to his Secret Knock about a year ago now, he had this amazing guest there, a California or Arizona highway patrolman that was involved in starting a very significant nonprofit, beautiful charity called Make-A-Wish Foundation. And somehow, I'm not sure the whole story, but Greg got involved in producing a movie, which I think is now produced and playing. And so, Greg, tell us about the movie Wishman.
Well, it's interesting. I was interviewing him for one of my books. His name's Frank Shankwitz. And I asked him, I go, Frank, what did you ask for? By the way, what was your wish? Because what are you talking about? I go, well, you're the founder. What did you ask for? He says, no one ever asked me. I said, holy smokes. I go, well, I want to be the guy to grant your wish. I go, what do you want? A Lamborghini? I go, whatever it is, I'm going to grant your wish. And he said, I just want my story to be told so my grandkids know I did something. So he signed over his life rights. It took 5 years, millions of dollars. We finished the movie, and right now we're closing our first distribution deals that'll be seen in theaters throughout the entire country this year. So it's pretty exciting.
So as you big movie producers say, the movie's in the can, and now you're looking for distribution.
Well, we found the distribution, so now it's actually getting it out and making it happen. In fact, it's really, really cool. We're talking about Marshall Weeder earlier. One of the people that we signed up with was Beyond Words, who did The Secret. And it was interesting. They want to promote it to their personal development database of all those amazing people, thinking that this could be the next movie to inspire people to, get off the backside and do something. Look, if a cop with no money and 2 nickels to rub together can just do a simple act of kindness, it could have a ripple effect to change and impact the world. Maybe we can give a pair of socks to a homeless guy or stop a bully's fight. We don't know, but everyone can be a hero by just doing one simple thing. Changing the consciousness. That's right.
What was it like for you first, how'd you fund this thing?
Let me tell you, movie industry, not for the faint of heart. I'm just going to go with you right now on that. It was really interesting. 2 weeks before we started shooting, all of our ducks were in a row. We were set, we were filming, they're building the sets, the actors were flying in, and there was a hurricane down in Texas, and it wiped out, whatever city it was, Houston or whatever, and 2 of our biggest investors had to pull out.
Whoa.
And we didn't know what to do. And I called everyone I knew in Hollywood. I said, what do I do? I go, we're done. I don't know what to do. The money's gone. And they go, you got to stop. He goes, you cannot go start filming or you can get ruined. And again, I tapped the source and I go, what should I do? What is my answer that I'm looking for that it makes this thing a reality? And it just said to go. And so I go, well, I got enough movie and, money to film for, 2 of the 5 weeks. So we went out there, started calling every one of my rich friends and said, hey, I'm shooting this movie. You should come out and check it out. And while they're there, I go, hey, let's put a hat on you. Let's put you in the movie in the background. I go, yeah, we're just a little short on the dough. I wish we could make this thing. And, and all of a sudden they started helping us writing checks. And I called and I begged, I pleaded, and a few people really stepped up to the plate. And here we are today.
Wow. Congratulations. Were you on the set the whole time for the shooting?
Yeah. From the inception of the idea to hiring the person to write the screenplay to hiring the producers, the directors, everything. It was my baby.
And how was that for you?
Again, not for the weak of heart.
but it did give you that adrenaline rush, make you feel good.
It was interesting. That's all I got to say. Look, the movie industry in my thing, Unfiltered, is kind of like George Costanza's opposite man, Seinfeld. It's not long. Where else, Mike, come on. Where could you offer someone, $500,000 to go work for a week and they won't ever return your phone call? Right. Show me that business, right? Yeah. Where can someone that, pretends to be someone who impacted the world forever has more ego than the guy who actually impacted the world forever? I'm like, oh, that's interesting, right? And so I had to almost change my logic standpoint and get into Hollywood logic.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game. Not better or worse, just different.
Yeah. It's got to be interesting though, on one level.
It was interesting is a good word.
And so when can we hope to see it in the movie screens?
This year. So you'll see it pop up, I'm sure, this summer. So we're excited about that.
And are you optimistic the investors, you can all get a return on the investment in the kind of business? I don't know.
It's a movie. So, ultimately the people will speak for itself. However, we believe we are sitting on a pot of gold. If nothing else, it's going to inspire people to go out and do something very, very special.
Yeah.
And when I made this movie, I had 3 goals. Number 1 was to grant the wish of the founder of Make-A-Wish. Check. 2 is to get all my investors' money back. That's my primary focus. I'm a businessman. And 3 is for, 1 billion people to see the movie. So I'm basically doing it in that logical order. And that's why we're doing deals and working on these distribution offers to make sure it makes sense for everybody so everyone can come out on top.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. Congratulations, by the way. So I know you're tight with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So if you share with our listeners, he's such a powerful person and author and speaker. I don't know if you ever met him, but if you could just share with us your memories of that experience and what you do with them now and how Napoleon Hill and his work has touched your life.
Yeah, I never met Napoleon Hill. He died in 1970. And what was interesting is in 1908, he gained access to the richest dude of the world, Andrew Carnegie. And he sent him on a mission with a letter of recommendation to meet all these people. And he wrote the Bible of personal development. 100 years later, in 2008, the surviving family and the president, CEO of Napoleon Hill Foundation gave me a very similar letter of recommendation. So I got to go around the world meeting these amazing people, and for the last 10 years, write the Think and Grow Rich series. So we did Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, and then I did Stickability. Sharon Lecter did Outwitting the Devil, and Think and Grow Rich for women. Then we did Thoughts Are Things. I did Napoleon Hill's Road to Riches. And now this summer, we got a really cool one. Sharon and I did a follow-up to the 3 Feet from Gold. It's called Success in Something Greater. And when Napoleon Hill, right before he passed away, was going to publish a book called that, and they never used the title. So the foundation just granted us that title to use. And more importantly, found some writings that no one's ever seen, has never been published, that we're going to put inside that literature that comes out in September.
Well, that's got to be super fun for you guys.
It's amazing. I mean, come on. I got to pinch myself. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So you're a super lucky, blessed person with this amazing, incredible energy, this big heart to serve, and you're a great father, and you're making a lot of difference in the world. And I asked you this the other night at dinner, and I said, what are your challenges right now? And you paused for a while and said, great question. You said you don't really have any. So I'm going to ask you again, are there any personal challenges that you're dealing with that you're trying to work your way through?
People would punch me in the face if I told you my challenges, because they're so ridiculously nothing. So again, that's not where the energy I like to sit in. So I will say that everything is going amazingly well right now. And I ask the universe to bring more, because that's what I like. I want to keep that flow going, because things are in an awesome state right now.
So you're living in that vibrational energy of abundance.
Yes. Like everything is so abundant. It's amazing. And even things that have challenges. Look, every crappy, shitty thing that's ever happened to us, we got through it.
Right.
I'm not worried about whatever little thing I'm going through. I'm at 100% success rate.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't get caught up into it. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I'm also smarter, wiser now, where I don't bite off things that can put me in a state where it's going to put me so far behind. Those days, I think I'm working on planning the foundation that things continue to grow in a positive way.
Well, so what would you say to somebody out there that is like believing their story, that they're going through a challenge and it seems like something they can't get past? Anything you could share with them to say, hey, you can get past this, any sort of trick or any thought or any exercise they can do to really propel themselves past whatever challenge they're dealing with?
Well, whatever religious belief system we have, I believe that we are an evolutionary animal. So at the end of the day, every time I've crashed a car, I've got a better car. Every time I've got divorced, I got a better wife. And so for me, every time something goes not the way I expect it to, I'm the weird guy that goes, woohoo, man, something awesome must be coming. And I don't fight it anymore, because I realize that is the state of abundance that keeps the thing flowing. And I was thinking this the other day, I go, what if, this is a weird philosophical thing, but what if God in the universe gave us 100% of every single thing we asked for, only we didn't like the packaging in which it came in, so we sent it away. So if I sat there and said, God, well, we asked for $100, but we didn't like the packaging in which it was given. Yeah. What if we asked for that perfect relationship and go, oh, but they got a weird toenail, whatever, right? So all of a sudden, we got to start looking at what if this is possible? Because if we send that away, chances are the universe, just like your parents, if you ask for more food and didn't like and eat what was on your plate, they're not going to give you more of it. So now I'm in that space of going more and more. What is the possibilities of what can be?
Yeah, listening to you right now, I don't know if you're familiar with the book, The Surrender Experiment. Okay, so this guy just wanted to go into the woods. This is back in the 70s, 60s, hippie kind of guy. Just wanted to go in the woods in the Everglades and meditate. Okay, but he decided to say yes to life. So whoever showed up, he said yes to. And so he built this beautiful home. Someone showed up, said, hey, can you build me a beautiful home like that? Okay. And you're just accepting and going with life, going with the flow, like in the river, just going with it, right? And then someone else shows up and says, hey, you're a really smart guy. You have this great meditation class. Can you go teach at the local college? Sure, okay, no problem. So he's in town. He walks into a Radio Shack. He sees this big box thing. It's the first computer ever. And he buys it, and he becomes a brilliant computer programmer. Now he's a billionaire. But he's still sitting in those same Everglades just wanting to meditate. You know what I mean? And so I think the beauty of life is if we get out of our own way and we have some faith and some trust, and we let go and we surrender to the process, let it take us easily and without all this effort, and let it flow with us. And I think we find our true destiny.
Yeah, I'm really been working on this concept of non-attachment. Detachment means you don't give a crap. That's
right.
what I'm talking about. Non-attachment means I only commit to something, say yes to something that I know I'm going to complete. But when I do, I go all in. And then once it's done, I'm not attached to the outcome. Like this movie, trust me, I've been eating, sleeping. This thing's been consuming my life for years and years and years. But once it's released, it's out of my control. All I can do is the very best I can do. And that's what I can do, is honor my people that are surrounding me by doing that. Same thing with these books. Look, I got 5 books coming out this year. I'm sure that 1 or 2 of them are going to do really well, and chances are 1 or 2 will not. I'm not attached to that. I'm just attached to giving and leaving everything I can out on the field.
So, man, you're a very impressive guy writing all these books. I mean, because I happen to know a little bit of how difficult it is. But how have you evolved through all this social media, this marketing? Tell me your magic sauce there. How you're so successful in this field?
Oh, I'm crushing that because I hire people who are better than me. Look, work your strengths, hire your weaknesses. Now, you're impressed that I write all these books. Let me be clear. I don't write anything. Okay, I got the best ghostwriters in the world. In fact, the guy who wrote Wealth Made Easy with me, Gary Krebs, he was the former publisher of McGraw-Hill Publishing Corporation.
Wow.
That's my buddy, right? And so who's going to write a better book? This guy got a D in English or that guy? Right. And so what I do is I surround myself with the most amazing ghostwriters that are playing at what I'd be working at. Same thing with social media. On Instagram, I've got 500,000 followers and all this great stuff. How much does Greg do? Not a lot, but I've got this amazing kid in Ireland that works all of his little magic to do the hashtags and bring people. I do the engagement because, again, I work my strengths, but he does the people. He brings all the traffic my direction so that I can feed with content so they stick around. So it's pretty cool.
Brilliant. Okay, we only have a couple minutes left, and I know this Secret Knock is just an exciting project that you really pour your heart and soul into once or twice a year. I know you have one coming up, so if you don't mind sharing with the audience, what it is, and if they want to participate, how they can get invited, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so this one, we're going to do one in 2019. It's March 11th through 13th in San Diego. Unfortunately, we're sold out. So people that even want to hear about it, the next one will be in 2020. And our idea was, instead of coaches and teachers and mentors, we just bring in the actual human being who's done it. So if you want to learn how to start a nonprofit, here's the founder of Make-A-Wish. If you got an idea for a clothing line, here's the founder of UGG Boots. If you got an invention, here's the guy who created the credit card magnetic strip. If you want to hear from, a spy, well, here's Edward Snowden on a private Skype in, Russia. Or if you want to go in the car business, here's Tonino Lamborghini from Italy. And what we do is surround ourselves with the most amazing thought leaders of today. So you go to secretknock.co. We left the M off so no one could find us, and they did. We became the Forbes Inc. Entrepreneurs.business event. But the bottom line, just fill out an application, get on a waiting list for March, because if someone drops out, we'd be glad to fill that in. And here's the way it works. As you know, it's $40,000 to go, and we will not tell you where it is or who will be there.
Awesome. So if I want to sign up, where do I go to register?
secretknock.co. That's it.
Okay. Secret Knock CO, folks. Get there. Check it out. And if you want to know more about what Greg Reid's up to, and amazing man, go to gregreid.com. Check out his latest book, come out April 19th, how to make all this dough. Have a great life. And what a beautiful man, beautiful soul, great energy. And I can't thank you enough for being on my very first show, Greg.
Absolutely. We're brothers, man. You know that. And congratulations to you too.
I hope to see you soon. Hey,
by the way, before we go, I met your wife. Yeah. And I did not know that you learned hypnosis, because you pulled that off. I have no idea, brother.
Well, she obviously suffering with some eyesight problems, right? And she walked out the house today. She said, "Honey, you got a great face for radio." So God bless her. All right, my brother. Take care. Thank you so much. All right, folks. We just have a couple minutes of our first show of Mike Murphy Unfiltered show, and taking a hint from my friend Marsha Weeder, I want to inspire you and then invite you to check out my book, The Creation Frequency, available on Amazon. and more importantly, to check out the online course. And I think it's probably about 7 hours to take it. You can do it over 7 weeks. You can do it over 7 days. You can do it in 1 day. And when you're done, you're going to have a blueprint, and you're going to have, if you do it properly, you're going to have 6 intentions with your life broken into 6 areas, and you're going to write a powerful intention with the outcome already written down on paper. You're going to pull it out of that cloud like we talked to. And then we're going to show you how to access the app, record this in high frequency music, theta brainwave music, and really use this technology. It worked for me, all I can tell you. I mean, it brought miracles into my life like that, and I've been using it for over 30 years to create a beautiful life. So, and people that are taking it all over the world are resonating with this product. We have a special offer for you today. It's normally $397. You just put in promo code RADIO, and you can have the course for $197. Of course, the app is free at iTunes or Google Play, and the book is available at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. So I think if you can get all these tools and follow the simple directions, and you can really become not only the best version of yourself, but financially or create a new home or a new relationship or deal with a health problem. There's so many different ways you can use this technology and the power of the law of attraction and manifesting your intentions to create a better life for yourself. So just a quick note on next week. We got a special guest, Dane Whittington. He's going to get into geoengineering, which is some people refer to as chemtrails. Is it true? What's really going on in those skies? We're going to really dig into that subject and see what he has to say. He's dedicated the last 10 years or so of his life researching this. And let's say there is stuff being sprayed on us that's not good for our body, and we have these chemicals. The second hour, we're going to bring in this amazing guy, Josh Mason. He's got a program called the Detox Dudes, and he's going to go really, really deep in how we can detox and get this toxicity and these chemicals out of our body. So that's next Thursday, noon to 2 Pacific time. I thank you for joining us. I look forward to continuing this adventure with you and building a relationship and hoping to bring you just great content and great products that can totally enhance the quality of your life and bring total joy and transformation and a deep sense of well-being. And until next time, go out there and make it the best day of your life.
You've been listening to Mike Murphy, unfiltered, unfettered, unflinching, unafraid, on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Thanks for tuning in, and don't miss the next Unfiltered show next Thursday from noon to 2 Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, as Mike Murphy and a cast of powerful guests strip away the veil of limitation using the groundbreaking practices of the creation frequency. Tune in to unleash the power of your mind. Open the immense energy of the heart to manifest an awesome life filled with true health, wealth, confidence, gratitude, and joy. Unfiltered truth, unfiltered frequency, unfiltered possibilities on Mike Murphy Unfiltered Radio. For more information on Mike and his work, visit MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com.